Hello, everyone. This is Robert Aldana. Welcome to another Sunday conversation on a Friday, because we're hanging out on a Friday, but you'll probably be seeing this on Sunday, Saturday, and many other days during the week. I have with me Alexander Titus, who is a meteorologist. How you doing, Alexander?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Robert.
Thanks for being here. And I hear they call you Alex, right?
They do. Okay. Interchangeably, whatever you feel like.
Okay, let me just tell you something. If I had a name of Alexander Titus, that's the name I would use. That's like a warrior. That's like a Greek god.
Well,
Alexander
there was
Titus.
an emperor from Rome, Titus, the emperor, and there's an arch for us. So, maybe there's a very long lost connection there.
Hey, listen, I'm glad to have you here. Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
You are a meteorologist. You've been a meteorologist for 11 years.
Correct.
And obviously, on Saturday, December 14th, around 1:30-ish, 1:35, we had a tornado in Scotts Valley. How crazy was that?
It was, from a weather nerd standpoint, fascinating and exciting. From a practical and society standpoint, it was scary and horrible for a lot of people.
For sure. So, Scotts Valley, so we're going to talk about a few things today, okay? Scotts Valley, first of all, we're not prone to tornadoes. This is, I've heard somewhere that this is the first time ever that Scotts Valley has ever had a tornado. Is that true?
For Scotts Valley, I would say yes. However, for broader Santa Cruz County, the answer is no. This is about the 9th or 10th recorded tornado in the last 50 years. And tornadoes can and will continue to happen in the area. They just don't happen as frequently, and they don't happen as intense as you see in like Oklahoma.
Well, it was pretty intense. I mean, we had, was it like over 100 mile per hour winds? Is it
was
tornado?
Close.
What was it?
It was 90 miles per hour. It's rated as a EF1 on the Fujita scale, enhanced Fujita scale.
Okay. And it flipped over cars. Some people, I was posting on my Scotts Valley where it said some cars were flipped over, and some people corrected me and said they weren't just flipped over. They were tossed around and they landed in different areas than where they were in the beginning. Is that true?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. A lot of stuff was just moved quite a distance away from where they were. Light poles snapped in half, tree branches everywhere. It's amazing more people did not get hurt.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what? We're very grateful that more people did not get hurt. I think there were 5 or 6 people that got hurt. One particular woman who got injured actually punctured her lung. And as we're doing this video, I think she's being released today on Friday, which is the 20th of December, just, 6 days later. So we're grateful for that. But it could have been much, much worse.
Absolutely.
I mean, if people were walking around, this was like a perfect storm, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
This was a perfect storm because the fact is, cars were moved and thrown around, people got injured. But can you imagine if people had been walking up and down Mount Hermon Road, what would have happened?
We would be talking about fatalities easily. Absolutely. I mean, if it could toss a 3,000-pound CAL FIRE truck on its side quite a distance away, imagine a 150-pound, 250-pound person just thrown into the Target parking lot or into some branch or something sharp. Could have been very horrible.
So we're grateful for that.
Very grateful.
Let's go home. Let's go home. Holy oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God, no.
What were the weather conditions that actually caused a tornado to take place in Scotts Valley?
Yeah, so I'd like to just talk, we'll go out a little bit broadly speaking before we single in on the tornado for Scotts Valley. But the weather setup was there was a low pressure system heading into Northern California and the Oregon border. A low pressure system is just like a regular storm, and it had a nice cold front attached to it, like about 1,000 miles or so dragging. There was a lot of cold air behind that cold front as it hit, and that was causing a bit of instability that we normally do not see in our region. There is about what we call in meteorological terms about 500 kilojoules of instability, which is very, very rare. We hardly ever see that. This is stuff that you see in the Midwest. So we had that as a setup coming into this format. We also had some wind shear because we have that low and we have that cold front coming. And it's causing the winds going into different directions, which we call wind shear. And you need to have wind shear, you need to have instability, you need to have moisture, and you need to have lift for a tornado to happen. And so essentially that was the large weather pattern setup. Now, as the cold front approached the coastline, everybody, you know, was raining for quite a bit. As the cold air was coming in, there was some more magnified severe weather happening. In fact, there was more of a supercell-like structure hitting Davenport, which I think is just due west. If we just take a line from Scotts Valley, that's where I think the story really begins with this tornado. And with that, these supercells can kind of basically create their own energy, essentially. And with this one in particular, it started rotating. There was an inflow and there was an outflow band on velocity radar. The broad system was rotating. Now, a broad rotation doesn't necessarily mean a tornado may happen, but in this instance, what had happened was there was enough rotation in the atmosphere as it came over the hills from Felton and into Scotts Valley. And there, in my opinion, there was also perhaps some orographic or geographic effect, because now we have a west to east facing storm and a north to south facing ridgeline, essentially helping to get things into place. And we had some rotation, and that rotation hit the ground, and that was the EF1 tornado.
You know, wow, that's a lot of information, but that's interesting to try and understand. I think for the common person, it's very difficult to completely understand, but I got a gist of what you were saying. It was quite an event. My wife happened to be right in the, not in the middle of it, but close to the area. And I know that I got some calls, and a couple people said, gosh, I thought you were going to be on the scene taking video and all that other stuff. But I personally didn't go because...
Same.
Yeah, I personally go for a couple reasons. Number one, my wife said, you can't even get here. It's jam-packed. Everything is chaos. And number two, I hate to be the guy that's in the middle of everybody's way when people are trying to get things done. And I felt like, with cars being flipped over, we didn't know if there was fatalities. And the last person I wanted to be was that guy who's filming somebody who's, on the turn, right on the border of life and death. And so I didn't go to it, into the actual scene itself, but a lot of people, I think, appreciate when people stay away, let people do what they need to do. Right. And I heard that there were so many people just driving and parking and walking to the scene just to see it. And I'm not criticizing people. In no way am I doing that. I'm just saying that when you have a situation like that, it's best for people like you and I, who are not part of the rescue crew, to stay away and let them do their job.
That's 100%. That's 100% correct. This has gone from the science of prediction to now it has happened. And what do we do next? Mm-hmm. And those first responders need to go in next. They don't need meteorologists to go in next. They don't know. They don't need people with cameras to go in. They don't need my Scotts Valley
with the camera going.
They need ambulances, police officers, firefighters, public works. And by the way, they did such an amazing job getting in there. They pulled everyone in so quickly. We are so blessed to have resources that are able to get there so quickly.
For sure.
Quickly.
For sure. So let me ask you a question. What is a meteorologist?
A meteorologist is someone that, number one, is educated. For me, I have a bachelor's in science and atmospheric science and meteorology. So they've taken the certified courses. But what is the actual science? The science itself is the study of the atmosphere and how it moves. So it's not just forecasting the weather. It's also understanding the physics, the thermodynamics, the equations that compose of how we see the atmosphere moving. The atmosphere is essentially a fluid, just like water today, and it follows the same characteristics, just, above us. And so it is the study and the application of the science, which is meteorology.
So meteorologists on television, they predict the weather. They don't predict it. It's a calculated prediction based on the information that they receive. So it's not like they think, well, tomorrow I think it's going to be a great day. No, they actually have data to back that up.
Correct.
How far forward can people predict the weather? Because I see, if you look at your weather apps, it's like 10 days, or 2 months from now. Who knows what's going to happen in 2 months? But I see some apps that have 10, 15 days or more. They are predicting the weather. How far out can people predict?
I'll be real with everyone on my Scotts Valley. So our weather models, the GFS, for example, goes out about 160 hours, perhaps up to 360 hours for a long term. But the reality is that is a lot of it is garbage, or I can just show you general high level trends. The most detailed forecasts will be within the last 48 hours or so. Okay. So anything after that is either taking climactic information into effect, or is just like, I would not, base my graduation party based on a forecast 1 month out. So really within the next 2 days or so is when you're going to have the most accuracy.
So when you see weather apps that are 10 days out, you can't really depend on that as much, right? Because things can change from on a dime. I've seen them change. I've seen on our apps that they say it's like it's going to be a beautiful sunny day, and the next thing you know, it's raining.
Yeah.
So that can't happen.
I've seen weather model runs every 6 hours change. There's a storm here, and then the next run, it's completely gone. Okay. And that's what happens when it's that far out.
So I got to ask, because I have to ask.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people are asking the same question. Is this Alexander Titus the Great? Is this great name, man? I'm telling
Thank you.
I'm just Robert. It's like, is this something that we as people of Scotts Valley should be concerned about, like maybe happening in the future more often? Is this an absolute rarity, or we'll probably never see this again? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, number one, I'm glad you have the opportunity that you're sharing with me to talk about this, because what I think it has shown is that a lot of people are not aware that tornadoes could happen in Scotts Valley, and they could. More severe weather will continue to happen here. Do I know if the frequency of tornadoes may increase? I really don't. Mm-hmm. But that the threat exists, and it will continue to exist moving forward.
Should we, as people of Scotts Valley, and even in this area, should we plan for, safeguards against the next one? Or is that like too far-fetched to even think that? What are your thoughts?
I would just twist that statement a little bit and prepare for severe weather in general. I wouldn't specifically prepare for a tornado, but know that we're going to be getting more severe thunderstorms that have hail, could produce tornadoes, more straight-lined winds, more flooding. We're getting into our wet weather season, and as well as fires. Which is the complete opposite. That is the drying of our fuels. Lots of heat that produce fire conditions. So really just an overall awareness that severe weather can happen here in our beautiful area.
Okay. So the city has enacted a department called the Civil Defense and Disaster Department. I'm not sure what they're going to call it exactly. I imagine that they're going to plan for things like this, for severe weather. They're going to plan for, again, never say never. I mean, Scotts Valley, we've got a lot of really cool things that have happened in Scotts Valley. Maybe Netflix was founded here. Yep. You've got so many different things that have happened. Seagate. I mean, so many cool news stories about Scotts Valley. The tornado was a huge story. I'm happy to see that you're going to be involved in the Civil Defense and Disaster Department division of Scotts Valley. What do you see yourself doing there?
Yeah, I see myself as being a partner and at least an expert in the meteorological field to help guide our civil defense planners. Like, these are the types of events you should start planning for. This is the frequency that may happen. This is a reality that we need to plan for, and to help use that knowledge to guide them to create the most appropriate plan and to continuously help update that. I think probably every year we'll want to update it based on trends.
Alexander, thank you so much. Alexander, I'm going to call you Alexander. I think Alexander is a really cool name. And thank you so much, Alexander, for being with us here today. I know you got a lot going on. You got to pick up your kids, you got life, work, etc. But I appreciate all the knowledge that you have shared with us. And please, by all means, please know that we are an open source for you. Like, if you have information or news that's coming up or things that we should talk about, let me know. As you become more involved, hopefully you will, with the Civil Defense and Disaster Division for the city of Scotts Valley, which Molly Legault, city manager, is going to be heading that division. As you learn more information, as you start getting more involved, please keep us informed.
Absolutely.
If there are things that we need to know about, if there are things that we need to share with the public, by all means, you always have an open door for us.
That sounds great. Thank you, Robert. And one thing that I will say before I sign off is while the disaster civil defense team will get things going, the one key takeaway I want all viewers from My Scotts Valley to know is that please take this as a learning opportunity that severe weather can happen and start personally preparing for this as we continue to go into our weather season. And this is a wake-up sign.
This is just the beginning of our weather season. The rains are right around the corner. So, great advice.
Yes.
Not just that, floods, you've got different things going on. So everybody should take note. And I'm looking forward to hearing more on the Civil Defense and Disaster Division for the city of Scotts Valley. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you. And, hey, prevention is huge, and prevention and preparation is huge.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. That's Alexander Titus, the great. He's a local here meteorologist for about 11 years or so, and knows his stuff. It was great chatting with him. Thank you again, Alexander.
Thank you for having
hopefully
me.
you enjoyed it, and if you have a chance, and if you have a question, post it here on the video right underneath this post, and I'm sure Alexander will get to it, and he'll try to answer questions as he can. He's a pretty busy guy, obviously, but I'm sure that there'll come a time when he'll be able to come up here and into the post and chime in with you too. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. Wishing you all a wonderful holidays, and Happy New Year, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye-bye.